Apple and Samsung are giant tech companies that keep bringing us beautiful phones and devices. They are, however, in a global corporate war that began in 2010 when Samsung, then Apple's supplier, launched an iPhone-like product through its Galaxy line. Steve Jobs, the late Apple CEO, was furious and went on the offensive. Samsung, in turn, returned the favor. Before we continue, please subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button below to get a notification on our next video. There has been some unprecedented litigation between Samsung and Apple, spanning 4 continents and awarding billions in damages. From a business model perspective, the two companies are converging and constantly developing, even if there are still strong contrasts. Samsung has long been an international force and has its hands in more industries. In March 2014, someone released a 2012 Samsung strategy document in which the Korea-based tech company said blankly, "Beating Apple is a top priority. Everything has to be related to beating Apple." It's an example of the animosity between two of the world's largest smartphone manufacturers who clearly align their respective business strategies with the other. Many other Asian manufacturers like NEC Corporation or Sony Corporation, Samsung works with a focus on vertical integration and a large number of products. Samsung is present in dozens of markets including flat panel displays, sensors, LED lights, batteries, game systems, cameras, televisions, home appliances, wireless carriers, tablets, smartphones, and even medical electronics. Before Samsung focused on Apple, Samsung competed with and outperformed Japanese tech companies in many cases in the 1980s and 1990s. The company spends a fortune on research and development, R&D, and investment, CapEx. It pays off in the mid-range and low-end markets, but high-end products always end up with the monster that is Apple. Samsung relies on vertical integration as its main competitive advantage. While Apple still imports billions of dollars in components from its rival every year, Samsung is not in debt to anyone. This is not a miracle cure. Nokia was almost as integrated before it was destroyed by Apple and Samsung, but Samsung controls some logistical securities in ways that Apple doesn't. However, the falling profit margins in 2014 and 2015 forced introspective analysis within the Samsung management team. Chairman Lee Kuan saw his company's international share of smartphone sales decrease from 35% in 2013 to 24% in early 2015, and his son Lee Jae-yong is reportedly interested in dealing with mergers and acquisitions, M&A, respond and partnerships. It would be a historic shift in focus that would likely signal a shift from self-funded research and development to outsourced innovation, much like Apple did. Apple is a much more focused company than Samsung because of its targeted marketing, research, and product design. It's also a much more profitable business. Apple is successful at design and integration, and that's not a small risk. All Apple products contain programs that work great with each other, but not with competing products. This makes it easier for customers to keep buying Apple and easily switch to someone else. Almost 3/4 of Apple's sales come from the iPhone line, which leaves the company dependent on a single product. Apple is not in a hurry to be the first. It allows other companies to invest time in research and development and early market development before jumping in and improving everything. Consider the iPod, the first game changer in Jobs' second term as CEO, years after the Sony Walkman. Apple wasn't satisfied with just throwing away a copier product, but has worked diligently with record labels to create a nice little replacement. There are similar stories in the smartphone and tablet market, each of which are considered pillars of Apple innovation, but none were invented by the company. The toughest interactions between Samsung and Apple take place in the intellectual property rights court, where Apple has repeatedly rained a bunch of litigations to attack Samsung for patent infringement. Lawsuits are a common strategy for Apple, one of the most legally aggressive companies in the world. However, the focus on Samsung is particularly repetitive and intense. The first shot was fired in 2011 when Apple, already entangled with Motorola at the time, was persecuting Samsung for its tablet and smartphone designs. The first lawsuit was filed in April, and as of August 2011, Apple had 19 pending cases against Samsung in 9 different countries. Each company won several decisions against the other between 2012 and 2015, often in contradictory decisions by German, Japanese, South Korean, American, French, Italian, Dutch, British, and Australian courts. Interestingly, the rapidity of technological progress often leaves the relatively dinosaur-like legal system in the dust. For example, Apple won an initial decision in 2012 that related to more than a dozen Samsung phones. However, the process of appeal and counterclaims dragged on until 2014, when practically all target models were no longer produced. For this reason, the real damage does not lie in the production line, but in the mountain of legal costs that Samsung and Apple incur worldwide. There are still a few wins in production or sales. In August 2011, for example, a German court issued an EU-wide injunction against the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1 for infringement of an Apple interface patent. Samsung defended itself and only reduced the injunction to the German market, but it was still a victory for Apple. A similar court order was successful in Australia. What do you think about this video on Apple versus Samsung? What's your take on their back and forth? Thanks for watching this video. Please share your opinions in the comments section below, and remember to click the subscribe button to be the first person to watch new videos on this channel.